This is your marketplace. It's testing day in Brampton, Ontario, and we're along for the ride. Wannabe truckers are looking to get their licenses at the local DriveTest center, including this guy.
It's pretty challenging as a new driver.
It's his second go at it after failing to pass the first time a few months back. Now, that's not so unusual for truckers in training. What is different is the way some of them are now making it onto our roads. Consider the consequences. New truck drivers get into more accidents. The heavy and dangerous loads they haul cause more damage and injury. Makes us wonder, are they getting the training they need?
Is this a truck driving school?
It starts in training yards like this one.
Yeah, I'm looking to get my license.
We come with hidden cameras after hearing we might be offered some shortcuts.
When can I start? Today?
Proper training can cost more than $10,000, but here, they're charging half that.
4,500.
4,500?
Yeah, with the 2 tries.
In 4,000, 2-time road test is included.
4,500 for the everything.
These schools offer a program called MELT, Mandatory Entry-Level Training. Ontario is the first in North America to set it up. Anyone who wants to drive a tractor-trailer has to take at least 103.5 hours of training before they can take a road test. But we're hearing we may not need that many hours.
103 hours completed, it does not matter you are completed or not. Maybe you will ready in 90 hours, does not matter.
A third of the time is supposed to be spent in a separate classroom learning theory. Not here.
No in class, no need for in the class.
Okay. No theory, nothing.
No.
Before your road test, I will train you 100% for everything.
Everything is here.
Everything is here.
Any classroom or anything?
Classroom, I will cover everything here.
Another no-no is called training to the test.
You have the test in, suppose Peterborough. From the very first day when the test is booked,
Yeah.
you can go with the S-back.
The S-back is a way to reverse a truck. Different drive test centers ask for different backing maneuvers. So that's what you're taught to pass, instead of real-world driving skills.
You have the test in, suppose, Newmarket. We are doing the C-back. So, C-back. Very good.
Sure seems like training to the test.
Mostly they use the L back.
Okay.
People who teach at trucking schools in Ontario need no special instructor license. They do if they teach at a regular driving school.
The training was not appropriate at all.
This student never actually finishes his MELT, even though the government thinks he did. So that was it?
Yeah.
Shuttered.
Just shuttered, yeah, abruptly.
He doesn't want us to publish his name to protect his chances of getting a job. The school he attends is called Smart Truck Training Academy, one of hundreds that spring up in the 7 years since MELT begins. But it closes out of the blue and keeps a lot of people's money. So cost was the most attractive to you?
Yeah, it was the most attractive.
He ends up losing nearly $6,000. Adding insult to injury?
So my first class ever for doing a reverse was one where I was just told to get in the driver's seat and just back the truck up. And the instructor was standing to the side, having a chat. Once I started, a few minutes into it, he looked over and he started screaming, which was sort of like their go-to instruction strategy, so to speak, is they just start screaming.
What about when you got on the road?
Sometimes it was just by myself and then the instructor in the passenger seat. But there were times when there was a third student sitting in the middle and there was actually no seat with a seat belt in the middle. It was like a folding lawn chair with like those 2 metal legs and like a fabric in the middle.
That doesn't sound safe.
It's not safe at all.
When Smart Truck shuts down, he still hasn't received much of his training, but they register him as a MELT graduate anyway. Since then, he's been paying other schools to let him practice with their trucks. We try to track down the owner of Smart Truck, who has left the country, but he doesn't respond. The next time you do your driving test, say you pass, you'd be getting on the road and you aren't fulfilling the requirements needed to be driving.
Yeah, absolutely legitimate concern. And I would answer that by saying that the fact that I have had training at 3 different schools now has helped a lot.
But has it helped enough? We're back at the DriveTest Center in Brampton. The provincial government no longer runs things here. A private company called SERCO oversees the testing and licensing of all drivers in Ontario. We watch from afar. As the rain begins, so does the student's test. He's asked to inspect his truck, answer questions about theory, try backing up, and then on to the road test. How does he do this time?
Failed. So just as a result of missing a few minor things, I took a left turn just like at the right time, but he felt that the oncoming traffic was getting closer. But I felt that we had more than enough distance, so I took that left turn. I'm not giving up, no. I have to go back, yeah.
He does go back and does get his license without ever getting his full training. Other would-be truckers are getting their licenses in a different way, one that is even more shocking. They're bribing their way onto roads and highways, and some car drivers are doing it too. How do we know? Someone who works for SERCO leaks us this internal memo. It's issued by Gary Cook, Vice President of Operations. He writes that SERCO is getting an increasing number of complaints about fraudulent activities perpetrated by DriveTest employees. This includes allegations that some driving examiners have been accepting bribes for issuing road test passes. He says the illegal behavior includes false experience being added to driver records. We're about to meet up with the driving examiner who leaks that memo. Hey.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. She doesn't want to reveal her identity for fear of losing her job. It's right in here. She's been doing it for nearly 20 years and says she can't stay silent anymore.
I was actually angry when this came out. This seems like we're trying to keep it in-house.
Stand right here. Yeah, that's good.
These people took bribes, gave licenses for a murder weapon.
That's a really strong statement. What do you mean by that?
I mean that in any accident of a transport versus a car, more than likely the person in that car is not going to walk away. And if someone doesn't know how to properly drive a vehicle or doesn't properly do an inspection, I feel it's only a matter of time before someone will die from that.
She hears rumors that the bribes are as much as $5,000 for a pass, but says bribes aren't the only problem. SERCO keeps track of how many students each examiner passes and fails, and that leads to pressure.
If I do have a week of really bad drivers, it is in the back of my mind that if I do have too high of a fail rate, that I could be flagged.
Add to that the province's testing guidelines that tell examiners to ignore the first time traffic laws are broken.
Certain things are seen as are being told to let go, such as rolling a stop sign. They'd have to do it twice, with the first time giving them a warning, and then they'd have to roll a second one in order to fail.
Have you passed students you shouldn't have?
That keeps me up at night, and I think I probably have.
Knowing all of this, how do you feel about driving on the highways?
I don't. I avoid highway driving as much as possible. If I can take other routes, I will.
And what's your worry?
Well, that one day it'll be my family member that dies.
We asked SERCO for an on-camera interview, but get a statement instead. SERCO says when it comes to bribes, they've informed authorities and fired people responsible. It also says it follows all testing standards set by Ontario's Ministry of Transportation. Trucks are Canada's lifeline, transporting most of our goods.
No in class, no need for in the class.
But how well are drivers trained?
The training was not appropriate at all.
How'd they get their licenses in the first place?
These people took bribes, gave licenses for a murder weapon.
And what's leading to terrifying scenes like this? We're in northwestern Ontario. Terry Fox takes the final steps of his marathon of hope on this highway. But it's also known as one of the most dangerous roads in all of Canada. We're outside Thunder Bay, Ontario, along a section of the Trans-Canada Highway, the only trucking route across this part of the country. And just yesterday, there was a fiery collision involving several vehicles, including 2 trucks. 1 person died. You can see pieces of the wreckage here. Scorch marks, a damaged guardrail, all signs of how dangerous this stretch of road can be. At a truck stop down the highway, road safety, or the lack of it, is on everyone's minds.
I'm having a lot of trucks come right up to the back of me.
And they drive way faster when we want them to drive. Not 90, like speeding way more faster.
How safe do you feel driving with all those trucks?
Not safe. Not
Why?
safe, yeah. So I commute for work. I have family members that also commute into this stretch. And, you just hope everybody makes it home.
Even truckers themselves worry. How long have you been trucking?
27 years.
So have you seen a difference from when you started to now?
Absolutely.
And what is that difference, you think?
Just lack of care from other drivers and a distinct lack of training.
Lise Vaugeois is the local MPP who's become a safe trucking advocate.
I probably have more email on this subject than anything else.
But the province, I'm sure you know, says that we have some of the safest highways in Canada and North America.
Yeah, if you live up here, that's certainly not the case.
A lack of standards and oversight at DriveTest centers is leading to an increase in serious accidents.
Vaugeois repeatedly takes her concerns to the Ontario government and shows them that same memo from our insider.
Information in the memo identifies fraudulent road test passes and false experience being added to driver records.
How did that go?
Nowhere. The same response. There's nothing to see here. And clearly there is from the memo itself. And I mean, that's coming from within the company itself.
Vaugeois recently introduces a motion.
Let me show you around.
Okay. To have all trucker testing and licensing done by public servants instead of a private company, like it used to be. One of the things that frustrates her most
It's coming up on the left. That's the station.
is this state-of-the-art inspection station just outside Thunder Bay.
So you can see the lights aren't on. The inspection station isn't open.
We move in for a closer look. Trucks are supposed to be randomly inspected here. It costs $30 million to build, but Vaugeois says it's closed a lot.
I think it could be open 24/7. Anybody traveling west has to go past here. So it could really make a big difference with enforcement.
Our search for solutions takes us to Caledonia, Ontario. It's home to one of the oldest truck training schools around, and home to this.
There you go.
Oh, geez. Wow, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. A cutting-edge simulator that costs a fortune, but sure packs a punch. That gives, like, real quick.
Slowly accelerate till you get back up in that 30-kilometer-an-hour range.
I'm already sweating, Matt. Matt Richardson runs the place along with his dad, Kim. Matt, does this really help students?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's as real as you can get without actually being out in a commercial unit.
Right. These guys call some of their competitors licensing mills, who fudge the rules just to churn out graduates.
I think what MELT did, it educated the bad actors how to get around the system.
Wasn't the whole point of it, though, to make roads safer and have drivers properly trained?
Absolutely. And I think we can see by what's transpiring on the roads today that MELT is melting.
They want to see a whole new approach to training, turn trucking into a trade with an apprenticeship. But until then, much better enforcement.
You have over 600 vocational schools in Ontario, everything from welding to hairdressing, and you have very few inspectors to go out and do that job. So if the capacity was increased where enforcement could be applied, quite frankly, the roads would be safer.
If things don't change, they warn, another crash is just around the corner. Like the one so many of us remember in Humboldt, Saskatchewan 6 years ago. A bus carrying a junior hockey team collides with a truck that blows through a stop sign. 16 people are killed. I mean, you can look no further than the tragic case of Humboldt. What can you say about what needs to happen now when you think about something that tragic?
I'm out. I just gotta take a break. When I take a look at those families, just been crushed, we can do something about it, and we need to.
One of the things being done is happening here at Line Force Transport in Brampton.
Wherever our units are, we know where they are.
I'm with General Manager Lisa Arsenault as she shows me how technology is improving safety.
These are the latest cameras.
They equip their entire fleet of 150 trucks with cameras and telematics that track location, speed, and driver performance, all in real time.
As you can see, there's another truck coming up beside us.
Every day, dozens of so-called critical events take place, like this one.
He's coming up. Amber, he has enough time to stop within safety, makes the turn. So now he's got 2 infractions. He's got a hard left turn, and now he's got running red. So he will be written up. He will be disciplined on probably a suspension of anywhere from 3 to 5 days with remedial training for speed, space, and management.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
So you want to go for a ride?
Yeah, let's hop in. Harry Hundle is the co-owner of Line Force.
This is our ELD device.
He argues there's no shortage of drivers in Canada, just not enough good ones.
So this feature helps us lane assist anything.
So his company takes new recruits and gives them extra training with an experienced driver.
Nobody's teaching them like how the weight looks like, how you couple a drag, how you adjust the weight limits. Theoretical is one thing, practical is another thing.
Trucking is an industry with a problem. Actually, several, depending on who you talk to. Shady driving schools, corrupt examiners, safety issues, and no one keeping much of an eye on things. We thought Ontario's Transport Minister, Pravneet Sarkaria, would want to talk about all this on camera. We asked repeatedly, but he doesn't. That's despite sharing the findings of our entire investigation with him. So we're back in Thunder Bay to try one last time.
Good morning, everyone.
We find him at this bus garage announcing transit funding.
The largest expansion of transit in Ontario's history.
But instead, we want to discuss the corruption we've uncovered. We have an internal memo that's from the company that runs Ontario's DriveTest centers. It admits that there are driving examiners who have taken bribes for road test passes. What's your government going to do about it?
There's absolutely no room for any of that. As soon as it does come to our attention, that individual or those individuals, once investigated, would be taken out immediately.
We also have proof that there are some driving schools who are taking major shortcuts with their students with training, and they're still getting MELT certified anyway. What is the point of standards if there's no enforcement?
We have investigators almost every single day, multiple times a week in these schools. There have been many that have had their licenses suspended. There are some bad actors out there. We will catch them. Ontario does have the safest roads, but that being said, more work needs to be done.
We've heard this before. I just hope we can follow up with you about that. Thank you. Truck training schools are considered private career colleges and fall under Ontario's Ministry of Colleges and Universities. In a statement, that ministry tells us it works to ensure high standards and safe roads and also acts on complaints. It's not hard to get behind the wheel of a big rig.
So push the red and yellow buttons in.
As long as someone has the right licensing. Like instructor Dave here.
We keep the truck out to the left, near the center line, but not over it.
What is hard is learning how to drive it properly and safely, and apparently getting everyone to agree on what that takes.